Next step in the bullet head decook and rebuild is lapping in the valves. So what we've got here is the cylinder head, which has been cleaned up, and the exhaust valve here. When you lap in, the sign of a good seal is a dull grey line around both mating surfaces where they meet together. For lapping in valves, you'll need a lapping stick like this one, which comes with a couple of different size sucker end attachments, very cheap from auto stores. And you'll need some grinding paste, which comes either in a double-ended tub like this or in two separate tubs, but you'll have one coarse and one fine, and it looks kind of like that. And the fine stuff looks the same, but well, finer, obviously. So yeah, I mean, it's a gritty paste basically. One's a bit coarser than the other. And what you do with your lapping stick is get your appropriate size sucker and you sucker it down into your valve. Try and get it as central as you can. It's not absolutely crucial and essential that you do. It just makes it easier for when you're rotating, because this is the motion that you use to lap them in. What you then do, starting with your coarse lapping compound, just get some on the end of your finger, and if you just dab this, you don't need much, and you only need it on the edge of the valve. But it's very sticky stuff, so just dab it around the edge, like so. Scrape the excess back into the tin now, and then you can probably hear that. Lovely grinding noise, and you'll hear when the grinding paste is worn away like that. Now I say lovely grinding noise, obviously there are certain times when a grinding noise is not lovely at all, but when you're doing this job it is. But you're lifting and dropping and rotating, and you're using an oscillating movement back and forth like so. And so you just keep doing this. Refresh the grinding paste when it starts getting a bit quiet, like that. Okay, so the whole process isn't quick, as you can tell. It's a little time consuming. Frost Auto Restoration sell a tool called an Easy Lap, which is an attachment which fits into your drill and has a sucker like this, and that converts the power of your drill via a gearbox mechanism into an oscillating movement at a controllable speed. Now you'll see some videos on YouTube and you'll see some sites that say, oh yeah, you can just sort of chuck this part into a drill through the other side and just spin that to lap in your valves. Well, you can, but personally I'd be wary of methods like that, because you're spinning it a lot faster than it should be spinning. Bear in mind your valve guide will allow us a slight amount of rotation in your valve, but it's designed for the in-out movement, not the rotation. And as a result of that, because they tend to be brass, they can wear. And the last thing you want is wearing your valve guides, creating slop, which is just not going to help you seal at all. Some people say they've used that method and it's worked fine for thousands of miles and what have you, but you know, you take your choice there. If you've got a lot of valves to do, if you've got a multi-valve head, then it might be worthwhile investing in the Frost tool. Or if this is something you foresee doing regularly, then it might be worth investing in the Frost tool. On a head like this, when you've only got a couple of valves, then personally a lapping tool and a bit of time spent with some elbow grease will yield good results and give you a sense of satisfaction that you've done it all by hand, like the good old boys used to. So I'll just disappear and carry on with this, and I'll come back once I've got into the fine grinding paste and show you the end result there. This is where we're at currently. We've got can see this. Try and get it to focus on this here. Now, if you can see that, we've got a nice uniform sort of pale grey band all around there where that's been lapped in. And likewise we've got a very similar pale grey band around here. I'll try and get this a bit closer and hopefully it'll be a bit more apparent. It's really tricky to see, but you can kind of just about see it there. That's pretty much what it should look like when it's lapped in. And that's just with, I've had one quick run with the fine compound, and I will be going over that 2 or 3 more times with the fine just to make sure that's that makes a nice good seal. One last little thing before this particular portion of the video is concluded. The decompressor is a little poppet valve in its own right, as you can see if I take it out and just show you there. It's just that it's a hand operated poppet valve with the self-closing spring, so it's just like the valves in your cylinder head, but considerably smaller. Now in this case I can't use the lapping stick because the head's far too small, so what I shall do with this one is remove it as I've done here, remove the return spring and all the bits and pieces, and then just apply the grinding paste and then just turn this by hand, just twisting that by hand in an oscillating movement, with the coarse initially and then with the fine, and this is just basically lapped into the unit exactly the same as the larger valves for the head. And that's all there is to lapping in valves. It's really quite straightforward, just a little bit time consuming. If you've got a lot to do, I would recommend either buying or hiring a tool to do them, because excessive use with the stick over time can give you blisters, which can be very uncomfortable. For a couple of valves or so this is absolutely fine, even for sort of 4 valves or so it's not too bad, but when you're talking a full cylinder head with 4 valves per cylinder, you're talking a 4-cylinder head or an 8-cylinder, 6-cylinder, something like that can get quite tortuous. But that's valve lapping. Thanks for watching.